Denton Community Television, operated by the Mayborn School of Journalism, the University of North Texas.
Follow your dreams, and they say, do what you want, and money will come.
Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Appreciate you watching. My guest today is a guy who has some really great music, some really good albums. When I was listening to his music, I just felt like I was listening to a major label recording artist, and I'm honored to have Joe Pat Hennen here today. Joe Pat,
thank you. It's nice to be here, Mike.
Thank you so much for coming.
Sure, my pleasure.
Has this been a good year for you so far?
Yes, I've been about as busy as I have been with the music business. Yeah, so it's been a good year, and I'm enjoying it. Just a few things, a few days off, a few weeks off from now until sometime in July, but I'm going to travel a little bit. But yeah, it's been a nice year.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, so you, earlier in your career, you met Larry Joe Taylor and...
Right. Larry Joe and I met at the Kerrville Folk Festival back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there specifically for a songwriter school.
Really?
And Larry did too. We went to, I saw that in leading some of the workshops, one of the names was Guy Clark, and Guy is always, I've always been a big fan of his. I think he's one of the more brilliant writers that's come along from the state of Texas and really nationally. So I went down there to work with Guy, and just it happened to be was in a small group with him
really?
During the workshop. So that was real nice. Yeah, but that's where I met Larry Joe. Yeah.
So Larry Joe created an event that he has annually?
That's right. Yeah. It started in 80, I believe this was 89.
Really?
In Mingus. Mingus is a town out between Fort Worth and Abilene.
Yeah.
So I had met Larry at the Kerrville Festival, and so months later, we were both writing our own songs. Really? And looking for audiences that would listen to our stuff as opposed to audience seeking out cover songs or dance bands or whatever. So Larry had a really good vision. He's always had a good vision of creating events, and so he would invite me to his events, and that would work well. Yeah. So we've known each other a long time.
Quite a famous event.
Yeah, it's huge. it's humongous. Yeah.
I've been by that location when it wasn't going on, you know.
Yes, right. I was there. I was there this year. For the last few years, I have not been to the festival. I've been involved in it for years, and then took a break from it. And this year, Larry invited me back for a Steve Fromholz tribute, and so I went back for that. Yeah. So that was.
What does he call that event?
It's Larry Joe Taylor's Texas Music Festival and Chili Cook-Off.
Yeah.
So it is. It has grown from the first year we played to. I played to about 15 or 20 people.
Really.
And I was thrilled because they were listening to my music.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've sought out from day one, was folks who would listen to original, sort of homegrown roots music, Texas music.
Yeah.
And Larry he really knows how to gather an audience. He seeks out an audience. The audiences now seek him out. So he's done a great job. I really respect him for the promoter side that he's done. Yeah.
That's great. I hope that continues for many years.
Well, I wish them well. Yes, because it's grown and grown. It's a big festival. Yeah.
A lot of people enjoy that, I know.
I know they do. Right.
So your very first album was in 1995, There's a River?
Yes, yeah, that was the first one that was really produced. We had done a sort of a compilation of songs that we had recorded live and that we had put out on cassette a couple of years before that. But this one was, it was a Lloyd Maines produced CD that it does well still, and so it's still played around Texas for sure, and I know in Australia and Europe I hear from folks. So yeah, that one did real well, and we really learned a lot and had a good time working with Maines. Yeah, with Lloyd Maines.
Who were some of the other people he had worked with?
Lloyd?
I'm not familiar with him.
Oh, Lloyd is, he's a great producer. Now, Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks.
Oh.
That's his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, Lloyd, as far as Texas producers, musicians, as far as in the Texas scene, Lloyd's, he is top shelf kind of royalty. He's a great musician, great ear for music, and a great ear for all kinds of music, not just Texas-centered or country music. He's a great musician that really appreciates diversity in music, yeah.
What is it that you usually had in mind as you, your sound as it's developed over the years?
I was really influenced by the folk rock scene of the 60s. I'm a child of the 60s, grew up in the 50s and 60s. The Byrds, John Sebastian and the Lovin' Spoonful were a huge influence on me.
He was a great songwriter.
Great songwriter. Beach Boys. I loved the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I loved their harmonies. I loved the sophistication or the complexity of the music.
Oh yeah.
I really respected that. And just really the folk scene, just there was something about, even starting as a young kid with the Kingston Trio and other folk singers that just that I was always just really attracted or drawn to the folk scene. And then when the folk rock after Bob Dylan and they combined electric music with the folk scene, I was pretty much hooked on that. That's been the biggest influence, I guess. Yeah.
I can see that, and that was some great music for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's really what hooked me into the Texas progressive scene of the mid-'70s. Was I was living out of state. I was living in Salt Lake City for a while, went to graduate school at the University of Utah, and then moved over to Denver and taught school and worked for a while over there. And Jerry Jeff Walker, the Lost Gonzo Band, Steve Fromholtz, they all seemed to be, it was more like folk music. It was much folk rock as it was country to me. And that's what I liked about it. So I'm still, I still consider myself a singer, songwriter, folk singer. So, yeah.
I've always liked that music a lot too, for sure.
Yeah. In Dallas, growing up, I would go see it was called the Big D Jamboree.
Oh yes.
And at the Sportatorium there on I think it was Cadiz, and just out of downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
And I would see Johnny Cash and George Jones and Cowboy Copas and Sonny James, and so I really liked that country scene. And then throw in some rock and roll with that and some folk music. Well, Johnny Cash was really influenced by the folk scene also. So same here.
Yeah. So your next album was in 2000, Brand New Day.
Right.
And Metamorphosis is on that album.
Right. Yeah. That one's requested a lot when I play. And it's requested, it gets radio requests quite a bit in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
It comes up kind of high when I just Google you.
Yes, that seems to be a favorite of fans and stuff, yeah. And that was, I would hang around with friends. Richard Carter, a friend of mine, he lived in Crum. He lives down in Central Texas now. They would buy these old junk, what I consider just old junk cars, and 2 years later they would be hot rods, and so that's what this song's about. So,
yeah.
And I just learned the lingo. I don't know a whole lot about cars, but I learned enough to that this song came out of that. So, yeah.
The Mercury.
Yes, there was a 40 Mercury two-door
40 Mercury two-door.
that was basically sitting in a guy's tool shed for about 30 years, and he said, "I will sell you this car." He told Richard, "I'll sell you this car if you'll leave it just like it is." And Richard said, "Of course, yeah, I'll leave it like it is." And of course, then the story goes on from there. Yeah.
Let's see, 2007, you have a Little Bit Easy come out that John Inman produced that?
Yeah, John produced that.
Yeah.
You know, legendary Texas guitar player, great guitar player, and good producer. John has a different ear, and of course, you know, John was one of the founding members of the Los Gonzo band that backed up Jerry Jeff Walker for years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
I've seen them.
learned a lot from John, and he added a lot to the album. Yeah. So that's been my latest one. And we're kind of doing just starting to do some studio work with unrecorded stuff that we've written over the years now.
Now then you have Hanging On to Every Line, though.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's a live album, and I guess I kind of overlooked that because we didn't do a whole lot of studio time with that.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we did on that was recorded basically at Dan Silverleaf here in Denton.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's great.
And so,
I've noticed you play there quite a bit. And you play at the Jazz
yes,
Fest.
we kind of consider Dan and I have known each other over the years. Our kids are the same age. We raised our kids the same time. They went to the same school, and so before Dan was in the bar business, and when I was just starting to write songs, we knew each other back then. So it's kind of nice to consider that our home base, and to be kind of resident artists there is nice. It's good, has a great reputation amongst artists for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a well-respected place. Yeah.
Shows always are great in there.
Great shows,
yeah.
Great people, great sound.
Great sound.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith runs great sound there, and
he sure
of course
does.
Dan does things his way, and it works.
Yeah,
I'm proud to be associated with that.
I always enjoy going down there.
Always, yeah, and we do happy hour shows there, and I do some weekend Saturday night shows and stuff. But we've really enjoyed doing the happy hour shows from 5:30 to 8 o'clock or so.
That's a good time.
Yeah,
too.
it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't, and then everybody in our demographic is home in bed by 10:30, and we're all happy.
That's true. Well, I really appreciate you coming down, and we're going to have you play some songs for us.
Okay.
And y'all stay tuned to check out Joe Pat Henning playing some songs, and thanks so much for watching.
So the first song I'll do is I wrote this years back, and it's about a little girl. She's 10, 12 years old or so, and she gets a pony for her birthday. Her parents give her a pony, and that was sort of the idea for it. It's called Louisiana Clay. She led the pony from the yard with a hackamore, barefoot and bareback, boots still on the bedroom floor. At such an innocent age, heart to heart and blood to blood, they were silent in the Louisiana mud. She held thunder in her tiny hands. She held her daddy's heart in her mama's hand. With this little girl, her fingers woven in the mane, they moved like silver in the Louisiana rain.
their hearts on fire, kicking up southern dust. Blood, sweat, and tears imprinted in their trust. Oh, but in the later years, on a later day, they ran like thunder on the Louisiana clay. She'd a hissy fit and shake that wooden spoon. Now you stay off of that mare, there's blood on the moon. You take Rosie the mule and you can ride all day, but on that mare is where she'd stay. She led the pony from the yard with a hackamore, barefoot and bareback, boots still on the bedroom floor. Oh, but in the later years, on a later day, they ran like thunder on the Louisiana clay. That's Louisiana clay. So I'll put my harmonica on. We'll do one. I was telling Mike in the interview that the folk scene had so influenced me that I loved the harmonica, and I guess some of the best harmonica sounds aren't the most sophisticated to me, but are just the ones that fit. They're just the Neil Young does some great stuff. Of course, John Sebastian of the Lovin' Spoonful was a great harmonica player. So you can see that I'm going back a few years on my influences. This song I wrote with my writing partner of years, Barney Venables. Barney, he's a great guitar player, and he sometimes basically the way we write is that he'll come up usually with a tune with a chord progression, and I'll put some words to it. So sometimes it's his progression first, and then I find some words, or sometimes I have words and I'll have a tune, but he'll come up with a better progression, a better music, a better melody. So this one's called A Little Bit Easy. This one started with Barney's just a great chord progression that I really liked. And so I put in the words. Convince yourself as you kick off your boots on the porch. And it's understood that time is just a matter of course. There ain't no getting around it, yeah, we've all done the crime. what you see and you do is just the measure of time. And the sun goes down on the prairie. The evening sky calls the night, makes a long hard day in the saddle. Go just a little bit easy, feel a little more right. Now we all live and we love and we don't take it back. And what I'm talking about is just a natural fact. Our time don't get any longer, we're just stretching things out. Relax your mind and you'll see just what we're talking about. That the sun goes down on the prairie. The evening sky calls the night, makes a long hard day in a saddle. Go just a little bit easy, feel a little more right. It's a little bit easy, a little more right. All right. Next song I'm going to do is my newest one. I just wrote this just a couple of months ago. And it started just with just a melody, just a guitar, just some guitar chords. And so then I just sat down one day and decided, okay, it's time to put some words to this. The hardest part, it seems to me, is having something to say as far as songwriting goes. And sometimes you can work too hard at that. The best thing sometimes is just let it come to you. So this is called Ribbon of Highway. I grew up before the interstate highways, and my parents were both native Texans, but my dad was transferred around quite a bit in his work. And so we lived in California. My first 13 years, I was a California kid. And so my parents moved back to Texas. And so this song's about being in the car for 2 days during holidays or whatever when my parents, our family, lived in California. But my dad promised my mother's folks that they'd come back at least 1 year to visit. And so the second part of the song is just about the migration from the Dust Bowl to California on Route 66, which is the road I really remember as a kid between California and Texas. It's called Ribbon of Highway. My first taste of freedom was the turning of the wheel, and I'm blessed with the gift and magic of the feel. Turn it over to the power of the mill. Let the blacktop take you where it will. Riding in the backseat of a Hudson. At 4 years old, I was smitten by the rhythm of the wheel. Staring at the window, thinking up a song. Down a rambling road, me and Big Brother riding along. In the cities, in the sticks, on a 2-lane road with the number 66. A little 2-lane road with the number 66. Now, some years before the people took to that road, as Steinbeck wrote it in the Travels of the Family Jode, hard times, hard traveling, and hard towns. Just to get to California, some flatfoot tells you turn around. In the cities, in the sticks, on a 2-lane road with the number 66. A little 2-lane road with the number 66. All but the children of the heartland, with the grit and the dust of the bowl, wouldn't turn back as a tribute to the fathers of old. So I'm here, as are many of you, and that ribbon of highway is still rambling through the cities and the sticks, on a 2-lane road with the number 66. A little 2-lane road with the number 66. In the cities, in the sticks, on a 2-lane road with the number 66.
Follow your dreams, and they say, do what you want, and money will come.